The chatter. Subscribe if you don't support cheating partners. Andrew was all too familiar with this routine. He had things he cherished, and his older brother William always found a way to take them, or worse, destroy them. To their family, William could do no wrong. He was the favored son, always seen in a positive light. Candy, laughing, playfully hit William's arm. "Stop it," she said. "What?" William replied with a smirk. "It's true, right? Sharp Knife College, that's the name." "Andy, tell him he's wrong," Candy said, still laughing. "Yeah," Andrew muttered, barely concealing his irritation. "Candy, he knows it's actually Whittle College. He's just being obnoxious." Andrew, their father, Big Bill Carter, scolded him, visibly upset. "Don't talk about your brother like that." "Fine, Dad." "Whatever," Andrew retorted, cutting him off. "Don't you whatever me." Big Bill raised his voice. Ignoring him, Andrew walked towards the door. "Whatever. I'm leaving," he said dismissively. "Andrew Michael Carter, come back here this instant." Big Bill shouted, clearly angered. "Candy, are you coming with me?" Andrew asked, feeling defeated. The moment Candy hesitated and exchanged a look with William, Andrew knew her answer. Shaking his head, he left the living room without another word, not even bothering to go to his room for his suitcase. There was nothing left there he wanted. The pain of discovering Candy, his girlfriend of 2 years, in an intimate moment with William had been too much. He had quietly left the library before they noticed him. Natalie, their younger sister, had seen him and, like everyone else, sided with William, smirking at Andrew's hurt. Unheard by Andrew, Natalie gleefully told Candy that he had seen them together. Big Bill declared that Andrew needed to move on. Candy was free to choose, and she had clearly chosen the better man. If only he had heard his mother's biting remark, the better man. A better man wouldn't seduce his brother's girlfriend. Andrew's moment of satisfaction vanished when William, with his usual mocking tone, boasted crudely about his encounter with Candy. Andrew felt no joy hearing Candy's surprised gasp or her distressed cries. He felt no urge to console or comfort her. During the long 14-hour drive from DeGard, Louisiana to Broken Field, Kansas, Andrew had plenty of time to reflect. He and Candy had been discussing marriage, their future plans, dreams, and ambitions. Candy had recently earned her bachelor's in business administration, while Andrew was close to completing his master's in electrical engineering. He was set to join Triangle Carter Incorporated and had intended to help Candy find a good job in St. Elizabeth Parish. Their future seemed bright, except for one issue. Candace Ann Dermont insisted on meeting Andrew's family. Andrew had pleaded with Candy to elope to Las Vegas or have a quick wedding in Mexico, anything to avoid introducing her to his family. By the time he reached his apartment in Broken Field, Andrew had come to a decision. Ending an engagement is far better than going through a divorce. Candy didn't contact him. After 2 weeks, Andrew packed up her belongings left at his place and took them to her parents' home in April Springs, Kansas. When her father asked about Candy's whereabouts, Andrew gave him William's phone number. William's angry response over the phone was the last straw. Andrew ended the call and swiftly blocked William's number, along with those of his father, Natalie, and his mother. He bought a new phone and number at a local store. At Brick's Pizzeria, while enjoying a pizza, his friend Freddie Scott noticed him. "Hey, where's Candy?" Freddie asked. "And I tried calling you about the Whittle game." "Yeah, sorry, got a new number. Didn't get around to sharing it," Andrew replied, fending off Ryan Smith's attempt to grab a slice of his pizza. "Get your own, dude," he said, playfully slapping Ryan's hand. "Ouch, just joking," Ryan exclaimed, nursing his hand. "But seriously, where's Candy?" Freddie persisted. "Cindy's been trying to reach her, but she's not answering any calls." "Don't know," Andrew replied with a shrug. "I took her to meet my parents. She met my brother, preferred him over me, and that's the last I saw of her." "No way," Ryan exclaimed, visibly shocked. "That's really messed up." Freddie, busy on his phone, said, "Cindy, you need to hear this." Andrew then shared the whole unfortunate story with Freddie, Ryan, and their wives. He explained how, since childhood, William always got what he wanted, leaving Andrew with the leftovers. This dynamic only worsened when their sister Natalie was born, leaving Andrew further sidelined. "I once made a science project, a mini-controlled tornado," Andrew recounted, his frustration evident. "I was sure to get an A, but William destroyed it the night before the fair." "Candy left you for him?" Cindy, Freddie's wife, asked in disbelief. "You're better off without her." Diane, Ryan's wife, chimed in, playfully arguing with Ryan over the last slice of pizza. "And my parents always excused William," Andrew continued. "So, when I found Candy with William, I bet my dad probably said something like, 'Why should she settle for Andrew when she could have William?'" His friends all shook their heads, sympathizing with Andrew's situation. "We need to do something to lift your spirits," Ryan suggested. "Yeah, brooding over it isn't going to help," Freddie agreed. "But I'm not," Andrew insisted. "Come on, you're just sitting here feeling down about what happened," Ryan said. "I'm really not," Andrew reiterated. "Guys, we should take Andrew out too." "Where should we go, Ryan?" Freddie asked. "Benhurst," Ryan exclaimed with a plan. "Benhurst, in Colorado," Freddie clarified. "Sounds great. I can't join. Jake's working on the Hollister case," Diane mentioned. And I've got a full week at Stanfield's, Cindy added, especially with you guys possibly visiting those cannabis dispensaries there. It's a guy's weekend then, Freddie and Ryan said in unison, celebrating with high fives. Andrew felt somewhat pressured into joining the guys' weekend that he neither wanted nor felt he needed. The split with Candy was painful, yet he had moved past it. The break from his family was harder to deal with. After his studies, Andrew realized he couldn't work for his father and William in the family business. His choice of electrical engineering as a career was strategic, aiming to contribute to Triangle Carter Incorporated, a company specializing in electrical, communication, and computer services for offshore oil rigs. Triangle Carter Incorporated was originally Minnie Carter's idea. Big Bill had scoffed at the notion of portable communications, but Minnie saw the potential for a business providing reliable and affordable communication technology in remote locations. Initially, the company was named TC, representing Minnie, Bill, and their substantial debt. With William and then Andrew's births, they toyed with changing the name to reflect the growing family, but settled on the original concept, with Big Bill leading the charge. As Freddie and Ryan excitedly planned their trip, Andrew wrapped up his master's degree requirements. He cleared out his apartment, storing his belongings in a storage unit, and prepared to leave his current life behind. The apartment manager confirmed that Andrew's security deposit would be refunded. "Let's hit the road." Ryan cheered as they climbed into Freddie's Mercedes-Benz, heading towards Rackwell Falls. "Rackwell Falls?" Andrew inquired from the back seat. "I thought we were heading to the ski lift motel on Route 210, Freddie confirmed. "Don't worry, we've got 3 separate rooms. Like I said to Cindy, there's no way I'm sharing a bed with you guys. And I used some of Diane's travel points," added Ryan. "No offense, man, but seriously, have you ever noticed the state of the bathroom after your turn?" "Hey, cut it out," Freddie laughed. "You think yours is any better? But let's focus on the main thing here. We're all about helping our buddy Andrew Carter out, right?" "Absolutely," yelled Ryan. "Guys, come on, it's not like I can't manage on my own," Andrew protested. Andrew wasn't the spitting image of Big Bill with his robust build, striking face, thick blonde hair, and deep brown eyes. Instead, Andrew resembled his mother, Minerva Minnie Carter, with her curly red hair, light skin, and bright green eyes. He was also on the slender side. Fortunately, he had inherited her sharp business sense and strategic thinking. Most people found Andrew quite attractive, at least until they met William. Then Andrew seemed to fade into the background. The 3 of them checked into the motel. Andrew got a room on the 2nd floor, while Ryan and Freddie chose 2 rooms on the ground floor with a connecting door. Andrew was relieved to have his own space, away from the potential disturbances of his friends. He could imagine them barging in, especially if by some chance he brought a companion back to his room over the long weekend. "All right, guys, let's sync up," Freddie announced, getting serious. "Our first stop is Club Landslide. On Route 49. "Club Landslide?" Andrew questioned. "It's a place with some of the best entertainment Colorado has to offer," Freddie explained. "Really? That kind of club?" Andrew sounded unenthusiastic. "We're leaving at 21:00 hours, Freddie continued. "It's just 21:00 hours, not 21:00 hours, Andrew corrected with a sigh. "All right, I'll take a quick shower and meet you at the car." "Let's keep the shower strictly for hygiene, Colonel Carter," Ryan joked. "We'll leave the rest for a different time." At Club Landslide, there were many charming young women, each of them cheerful and sympathetic. They seemed particularly understanding when Freddie and Ryan shared that they were there to lift Andrew's spirits after a tough breakup. Freddie and Ryan indulged in a few rounds of a potent drink dubbed Snow Blind by the club's bartender. It wasn't long before Freddie was seen heading to a private room with Dallas, a charismatic redhead. "Friends, I'd say our mission here has been quite successful," Freddie announced with a wobble as he returned from the restroom. "Agree, absolutely," Ryan chimed in with enthusiasm. "Now, on to our next destination, Cunning Stunts at Gold Rush," Freddie directed, leading them towards the exit of Club Landslide. "Cunning Stunts? That's an unusual name," Andrew remarked, recovering from the loud environment. Ryan attempted a joke involving wordplay, but Andrew quickly shut it down, pleading for no more jokes as they got into Freddie's car. Cunning Stunts also featured a host of captivating performers, all skilled in their art. Some were even open to more personalized performances for an additional fee. Both Ryan and Freddie decided to experience these private sessions. Ryan with Ebony, a striking woman, and Freddie with another redhead who introduced herself as Ariel. "Mission accomplished, wouldn't you say?" Freddie slurred with a drunken grin. "Definitely," agreed Ryan. "These experiences are something else." Freddie then began to suggest their next venture, continuing their night of escapades. "Hand over the keys, you've had too much to drink," Andrew insisted. "I'm taking an Uber." "Nonsense," Freddie retorted. "Our next stop is Rocky Mountain Way on Aspen Drive." "You guys can go on, I'm not joining," Andrew stated firmly. "Looks like Colonel Andrew Carter isn't up for the challenge," Freddie proclaimed, almost like abandoning the mission. "Exactly," Ryan slurred in agreement. "Whatever," Andrew muttered, leaving the noisy club. The next morning, Freddie and Ryan looked worn out, yet they enthusiastically recounted their experiences at Rocky Mountain Way. Andrew, however, seemed disinterested. Did you guys ever consider what Cindy or Diane would think about all this? Andrew questioned, spicing up his eggs with Tabasco. How can you eat that now? Ryan grimaced. Cindy won't find out, Freddie shrugged. Andrew, we've reviewed your actions, Freddie continued. We're giving you another chance. Tonight, at 21:00 hours, we start at Daughters, a top-notch steakhouse, then move on to Golden Nuggets on Berkshire Way. Sync up, guys. And you think Cindy and Diane are fine with you spending like this? Andrew asked, settling his breakfast bill. Freddie mocked Andrew's relationship dynamics, while Ryan ridiculed him for his cautious approach. By the way, Ariel, no, Heather, suggested we check out the pot shop nearby, Freddie added. No thanks, pot just gives me a headache, Andrew refused. Too cautious, both Freddie and Ryan taunted. After lunch, Andrew decided to take a walk. He found the weekend rather disheartening. The intention was to lift his spirits, but watching his friends spend extravagantly in nightclubs wasn't uplifting. He resolved not to inform Cindy or Diane about Freddie and Ryan's escapades, yet he wouldn't cover for them either. At Daughter's Steaks, they were greeted by an elegantly dressed hostess. Their waitress, similarly dressed, was professional and gracious throughout, skillfully handling Freddie's inappropriate request for her contact details. Ryan's rude comment about her appearance, accompanied by a tip, was met with grace by the waitress. I'm very sorry about that, Andrew apologized, also leaving a tip. The meal and your service were both outstanding. Thank you, please visit us again, she said, swiftly moving away. The scene at Golden Nugget was familiar, loud music, bright lights, and performances for hire. Prospector's mind was no different. Ryan, again, sought out a private performance. Hey, lighten up. Ryan called out to Andrew, who was visibly disinterested. This is pointless, Andrew stated, standing up. You guys do your thing, I'm heading back. You can't just leave, protested Freddie. Watch me, Andrew replied, already booking his Uber. The next morning, Freddie and Ryan were absent at breakfast. Andrew, enjoying his meal in peace, browsed the local Benhurst Bugler. An ad caught his eye, showcasing the Centennial Walk with live music and dancing by Merrily Lake. This is where we should have been, he thought, not those other places. The Nasty Pig Barbecue offered them a hearty meal later on. The waitress, dressed casually, took their order with a polite smile, even when Freddie inquired about her off-duty hours. Usually around 4:30, my girlfriend picks me up on her motorcycle, the waitress replied. All right, we need to strategize our evening, Freddie began. I'm doing something different, Andrew cut in. There's live music and dancing at Centennial Walk tonight. That's where I'll be. Actually, that sounds like a great idea, Freddie agreed. We've spent enough at those clubs. Let's sync up our plans. Centennial Walk has good food, and Boardwalkers is known for their trout, Andrew added. We could head there around 8, have dinner, enjoy some dancing. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm on board, Ryan chimed in. Have you seen how much we've spent? Let's meet at the car at 19:30, Freddie announced. That's 7:30 for those who prefer simpler terms, Andrew quipped. Careful, Lieutenant Carter, don't want to drop another rank, Freddie joked about Andrew's informal attitude. Whatever, Andrew dismissed, not taking it seriously. Is that a cannabis shop across the street? Ryan inquired, spotting a store. Good observation, Colonel Smith, Freddie complimented. You deserve a commendation for that. Got it, Ryan responded. See you at 7:30, Andrew confirmed. 19:30, Freddie corrected. And Lieutenant Carter, make sure those boots are shining. Andrew glanced at his well-worn cowboy boots and shook his head, walking back to the motel. He thought about what to wear for the evening, considering the colorful cowboy shirt Candy had bought him, which she said highlighted his green eyes beautifully. That evening, Andrew firmly refused to get in the car with Freddie driving, as both Freddie and Ryan had indulged in various products from the cannabis store and were noticeably impaired. Andrew had to knock on Freddie's door at 7:50 p.m. to get them moving. Got some cannabis-infused lollipops, Ryan mentioned with a giggle. Diane might even loosen up a bit if she tries these. That's interesting, Andrew commented. Bet Candy never agreed to that, huh? Ryan prodded. A few times, Andrew admitted. No way, Freddie exclaimed in disbelief. Candy, I can't imagine that. Eventually, they agreed to head to Centennial Walk, where Andrew was the only one keen on trying the trout. On arrival, Freddie and Ryan quickly found a table near the dance floor and were soon complaining about the limited drink options. Look over there, 11 o'clock from my position, Ryan pointed out excitedly. Looks like a great opportunity for me. Nice spotting, Freddie acknowledged. But Ryan, since when did you develop a taste for different types? Had a girlfriend in 8th grade who left a lasting impression, Ryan laughed. Man, she was something. Does Diane know? Andrew asked, curious. And she better not, Ryan replied, half jokingly. She's not a fan of diversity, to put it mildly. Don't worry, Andrew reassured. I'm not about to spill your secrets. The burgers they ordered were delicious, especially the sweet potato fries. As they ate, the band started their performance. The musicians, including a talented female keyboardist and a male bassist who took turns singing, were impressive. Time to mingle, Ryan declared, standing up. Ryan made his way over to a group of girls and invited one of them, an African-American woman, to dance. She responded with a smile and stood up. Major Carter, this turned out to be a fantastic idea, Freddie complimented, getting up from his seat. Have I been promoted to major now? Andrew joked, shaking his head. Freddie then approached another group and asked a striking redhead to dance. The tall, slender woman agreed with a smile. Can you believe this? They're cousins, Ryan shared with Andrew, finishing his beer before joining the second girl from the group. After a while, Freddie and the redhead were deeply engaged in their dance. Ryan was dancing enthusiastically, switching between the two cousins. Then, a blonde woman approached Andrew. She was petite, with a short haircut, and wore a colorful bikini bottom and a short t-shirt, along with worn flip-flops. Her numerous facial piercings and a long green tattoo peeking from under her shirt made her stand out. Hey, she said, poking Andrew's chest. What's the matter? Too drunk to dance? No, I'm actually too sober to dance, Andrew replied with a smile. Her blue eyes widened, and she grinned broadly before poking him again. Well, you better catch up then, you're dancing with me, she insisted. All right, Andrew agreed, standing up. As the band started playing Kiss Them For Me by Susie and the Banshees, the girl squealed with excitement and began to dance energetically. Andrew found himself mostly standing still, occasionally shuffling his feet and nodding his head to the rhythm, while she danced lively around him, brushing against him playfully. You're a great dancer, the girl shouted over the music. Really, I'm just standing here, Andrew chuckled. As a slower song followed, the girl moved closer to Andrew, and they swayed together to the music. Andrew could feel the warmth of her embrace and her playful movements. You see, you're a great dancer, she said happily, wrapping her arms around his neck. They shared a dance floor kiss, and Andrew noticed the unique feel of her piercings. Can you grab me a beer? She requested. The bartender won't serve me because I'm only 19. Andrew obliged and got a draft beer for her. She dashed off to the bathroom, leaving him holding the drink. Thanks, what's your name? She asked upon returning, and quickly finished the beer. Andrew, he replied, amused by her enthusiasm. Man, dancing sure is hard work, she said, pulling him back to dance. As they danced, she got playful, teasing and laughing with him. Wow, Andy, you're surprising, she exclaimed, spinning around to face him again. It's Andrew, actually. Andy sounds a bit young, he corrected, smiling. And you're definitely not young, she giggled, playfully eyeing him. When the band announced a break, she expressed her disappointment and asked for another beer. Looking around, Andrew realized Freddie and Ryan were nowhere in sight. Shrugging, he made his way to the bar and ordered 2 beers. Oh, you're so sweet. Did you get me both? She asked, taking one. No, one of these is for me, Andrew clarified. Oh, right, Victoria laughed and finished her beer quickly. By the way, what's your name? Andrew inquired as Victoria moved rhythmically to the music. Oh, I didn't say, Victoria exclaimed, followed by a giggle. I'm Victoria Hanson. And please, not Vicky. I really don't like that. Nice to meet you, I'm Andrew Carter, Andrew replied, still looking around for Freddie and Ryan. Hey, want to take a walk? Victoria suggested, pulling Andrew out of Centennial Walk into the humid night. Outside, Andrew checked for Freddie's Mercedes-Benz in the parking lot but couldn't spot it. He resigned himself to taking an Uber back to the motel. Victoria, still holding his hand, led him towards the lake. I've always loved the lake. I used to be a pretty decent swimmer back in school, Victoria shared as they strolled by the lake. Really? Andrew showed interest. Yeah, she replied, gripping his hand firmly. Victoria suddenly stopped, turned to face him, and wrapped her arms around his neck. She stood on her toes and kissed him. As they broke away from the kiss, Andrew curiously asked about her piercings. It's a bit silly, actually, Victoria admitted, holding his hand. She then pointed to a scar on her forearm. In the moonlight, Andrew could see the scar's distinct appearance. I got into self-harm for a while, Victoria confessed. It was a kind of thrill, but this one time, I cut too deep. There was so much blood, and it just wouldn't stop. When I showed my mom and stepdad, they freaked out, thinking I was trying to harm myself seriously. Andrew pondered how this related to Victoria's numerous facial piercings, the eyebrow rings, the earrings, the nostril ring, and the one on her lip. He wondered what drove her from one form of expression to another. Next thing I know, I'm in Jordan's psych ward, and I have to attend these meetings for self-harm, Victoria shared, walking alongside Andrew. Really? Andrew responded after a pause. Yeah, that's where I met Ned. He showed me his scars, told me he stopped self-harming and wanted to help me, Victoria said, slowing her steps. And then, Andrew prompted. Well, he said no one would believe me about a traumatic incident, especially since I was in a psych ward, Victoria explained, stopping in her tracks. She let go of Andrew's hand and gazed out at the lake. After a moment of silence, Andrew gently hugged her from behind, and she leaned into his embrace. I stopped harming myself, Victoria whispered. Now, when I feel the urge, I get a piercing instead. She turned to face Andrew, pointing to her eyebrow. Then feeling the urge quite a bit, she admitted. Do you like them? Before Andrew could respond, Victoria kissed him again. She was full of energy, smiling and giggling as she led him across the street towards a cluster of trailers. Inside one of the trailers, Victoria removed her t-shirt, revealing small, adorned breasts. Andrew noticed the intricate tattoo of a yellow iris or lily on her skin. Victoria then kissed Andrew passionately once more. She removed the rest of her clothing, revealing more of her body art. Leading Andrew down the hallway, the dim light cast a gentle glow on her figure. I don't usually do this, Victoria said as she opened the door to a bedroom that was somewhat cluttered. Are you sure your parents won't mind? Andrew inquired as Victoria switched on a small lamp by the bed. No worries, Andrew, this is my place, Victoria quickly reassured him. Imagine if I brought someone to my mom's house. Andrew casually removed his boots and clothing, revealing a stylish shirt underneath. Victoria gave a nod of approval and then playfully jumped onto her bed, kicking her legs up. Hey, you're not one of those guys who's shy about oral, are you? Victoria suddenly asked, propping herself up on the pillows. No, not at all, Andrew replied with a smile. Andrew Carter enjoys it. Really? Show me, Victoria teased, making a suggestive gesture. When Victoria moved, Andrew noticed her unique piercings. He climbed onto the bed, taking in the sight of her adorned with several hoops and a striking gold piece. Andrew's thoughts weren't on Julie, his girlfriend who had promised to wait until marriage. Nor did he think about Beth Richards, his date for the school dance, who had spent the night asking about William. You know, it's not William who's been treating you, Andrew had finally snapped at Beth during a heated moment. Beth had replied smugly, leaving Andrew to ponder her words. In the present, Victoria urged Andrew on, gripping his hair with excitement. Andrew found himself closely embraced by Victoria. He felt the unique sensation of her adornments as they moved together. Andrew woke up with the feeling that he wasn't alone. Opening his eyes, he saw a little girl who resembled Victoria smiling at him. He returned the smile warmly. Hi there, what are you up to? The young girl inquired curiously. Just resting. How about you? Andrew responded, making sure he was decently covered by the blanket. I'm not doing much, she replied. Same here, Andrew said, and the girl giggled at the coincidence. Who are you? The girl asked with childlike curiosity. I'm Mr. Andrew. And who might you be? Andrew asked, trying to recall where he had placed his clothes. I'm Ryana. I live here. Do you live here now? Ryana inquired. Oh, no, I'm just a friend of your mom's. Is she around? Andrew responded with a friendly smile. Yes, she's here, Ryana confirmed but stayed in the room. From the doorway, Victoria spoke up. Ryana, did you check if Mr. Andrew would like some coffee? He would like some, Ryana confidently stated. Did you ask him, though? Mr. Andrew, did she ask you about coffee? Victoria inquired. No, she didn't ask, but I would like some coffee, Andrew confirmed, noticing Victoria standing in the doorway dressed in a casual outfit. Victoria, with a playful shake of her head and a wag of her finger, teased Ryana. You just made that up, young lady. But he does want coffee, Ryana insisted, defending her guess. Right, but you should have asked first, Victoria pointed out. After Ryana left with her mother, Andrew quickly got dressed and joined them outside the bedroom. What would you like in your coffee? Victoria asked, pouring a cup into a well-used mug. Some cream, or half and half if you have it, Andrew replied, settling down at the table. Ryana, eating her toast, looked up at Andrew with a smile smeared with grape jelly. He smiled back, and she giggled in response. I only have coffee to offer. Sorry, Victoria said apologetically as she served the brew, which seemed a bit weak. That's perfectly fine. I'm not big on breakfast anyway, Andrew reassured her, though he wasn't fond of the coffee's taste. Victoria, seeming a bit uneasy, spoke up. I don't usually do this, but could I ask you for a bit of money? Andrew grimaced inwardly at the coffee's quality. He drank it quickly and checked his wallet. Without drawing much attention, he left a couple of bills on the table. As he arranged for a ride on his phone, Andrew tried to lighten the mood. I had a good time last night, he said. Yeah, so did I, Victoria replied quietly. I guess I'll see you around, Andrew said, moving towards the door. When are you heading back to Kansas? Victoria inquired, finally looking his way. My checkout time is at 10, Andrew answered. Okay, well, take care, Victoria said, returning to her coffee. Goodbye, Ryana. It was really nice meeting you, Andrew said, opening the door. Bye, Mr. Drew, Ryana called out cheerfully. Freddie's Mercedes was not in the motel's parking lot, leading Andrew to guess that Freddie and Ryan had gone out, possibly to buy more marijuana products before heading back to Broken Field, Kansas. Andrew went into the diner, flipped over a coffee cup, and prepared for a better coffee experience than what he had at Victoria's. After breakfast, Andrew noticed Freddie's car was still absent. He returned to his room, took a quick shower, changed into his last clean outfit, and packed his bag, ensuring he had his phone charger and hadn't left anything behind. When he returned the key card to the motel manager, the manager commented with a hint of annoyance. Your friends, they left. What happened? Andrew asked. They just left without paying for the 3 days, the manager explained. That's their responsibility, Andrew replied. You have their credit card information, right? The manager informed him that the credit card had been canceled. Andrew insisted on paying only for his room, not his friends' rooms. After settling his bill, he stepped outside and called Freddie, but the call went to voicemail. He tried Ryan's number with the same result. Frustrated, he called Diane. Diane answered the call angrily, accusing Andrew of negligence towards her husband and ending their conversation abruptly. Andrew then searched for the nearest Greyhound station on his phone and found it was only 9 blocks away. He started walking towards the bus terminal, feeling weighed down by the turn of events. His phone rang with an unknown number. Initially hesitant, Andrew decided to answer it, curious to see who was calling. "This is Andrew," he said, recognizing the Greyhound bus terminal sign in the distance. "You left too much money," a gentle voice came through the phone. "Excuse me." Andrew was puzzled. "It's Victoria. The money you left, it's too much," she said, her voice soft. Andrew didn't think it was excessive. "I thought it was the right amount," he replied. "I'm not. I don't do this for money," Victoria clarified, sounding upset. Andrew realized it had been a couple of hours since he left her place. He wondered if she had only just checked the money he left on her kitchen table. "Victoria, do you need the money?" Andrew inquired, trying to understand her feelings. "Well, yes, but..." She hesitated. "Just use it, then," Andrew suggested. "Thanks. I really enjoyed our time together," Victoria confessed quietly. "Me too," Andrew said with a smile, thanking a man who held the door open for him. "Goodbye," Victoria ended the call quickly. "Bye," Andrew echoed, surveying the tidy bus station. He pondered how Victoria got his number, realizing she must have checked his jeans while he slept. He quickly checked his current pockets and recalled he had worn a different pair last night. Nothing seemed to be missing, so he saved Victoria's number and put his phone away. You Randy?" An elderly man asked him with a stern look. "No, I'm Andrew," he corrected, shaking his head. "Damn nuisance," the man grumbled, clearly expecting someone else. Andrew apologized and walked over to the ticket counter to continue his journey. "You looking for a job?" the man inquired. Andrew paused to observe him. The man's attire was worn but tidy, and his weathered boots hinted at a life of outdoor work. His skin, reddened by the sun, also suggested he spent much time outside. Andrew contemplated his own situation. "What do I have waiting for me?" he thought. "Nothing much." "What's the job?" Andrew asked the man. "Ever ridden a horse?" "We've got some ATVs, but horses are part of the work too," the man explained. "I have some experience," Andrew replied, recalling a time when his family had gone on a cattle drive at a dude ranch. William, his brother, had been afraid of the horses, but Andrew and his sister Natalie had loved it. Despite William's reluctance, the family had stayed for the entire 2 weeks. "Good, I need someone to help with moving my cattle," the man stated. An hour later, Randy, the man who was initially supposed to show up, arrived in a disheveled state. Mr. Cleason, the man Andrew was speaking to, dismissed Randy's services. Andrew joined Mr. Cleason, climbing into his well-used Silverado with over 100,000 miles on it. He placed his duffel bag in the truck and settled into the passenger seat. The work was hard and repetitive, but Andrew found satisfaction in it. Each Friday, Carl Cleason, the ranch owner, paid his workers in cash. Some of the workers seemed worse for wear by the weekend, spending their earnings quickly. On Sundays, Andrew had the option to attend the local Baptist church with Carl and his wife Sam, despite being Catholic. He noticed after the third payday that he had saved quite a bit of money, but didn't feel comfortable leaving it unsecured, especially with some of the other workers looking untrustworthy. To keep the money safe, Andrew decided to send most of it to Victoria. On a Sunday, while at church with Carl and Sam, his phone buzzed with a message, a rare occurrence given their remote location. "What's going on? Why did you do this?" Victoria sounded perplexed over the phone. "No, Ryana, I'm not talking to Mr. Andrew directly, this is just a voicemail." "Mr. Drew, are you going to visit me?" Ryana eagerly asked in the background. After the lengthy church service, Andrew stood near Mr. Cleason's truck and decided to call Victoria back. "Andrew, why did you send me this money?" Victoria asked directly when she answered. "Well, I've got everything I need here, food, a place to sleep, and a shower. I don't need the money, but I know you have Ryana to look after," Andrew explained, acknowledging some people from the church. "Wait a moment, Ryana," Victoria said, managing her daughter's impatience. "I need to talk to him." "I'm not suggesting anything about you, Victoria. Just use the money as you need, and keep the rest. I'll collect it when I'm done working here," Andrew reassured her. "Hold on, Ryana really wants to talk to you," Victoria said, handing the phone to her daughter. "Mr. Drew, when are you coming to see me?" Ryana asked eagerly. "I'm not sure, sweetheart. I'm working right now, but I'll try to come see you as soon as I can," Andrew replied warmly. "Okay, I love you. Please come soon," Ryana said with childlike earnestness. "Do you need anything?" Victoria interjected. "No, I'm all set here," Andrew reassured her. "Really, use the money for whatever you need." "You're crazy," Victoria said, a mix of surprise and gratitude in her voice, before ending the call. 7 weeks later, a more rugged Andrew stood knocking at Victoria's trailer door. She opened it, her face lighting up with joy at the sight of him. "Hey, how did you get here?" "Wow," Victoria exclaimed with joy, giving Andrew a warm hug. "Are you doing okay? How long are you staying?" "Mr. Drew," Ryana squealed with excitement. Victoria was casually dressed in denim shorts and a sports bra, showcasing her lily tattoo and a new navel piercing. Andrew briefly wondered about the cost of the piercing but quickly dismissed the thought. "Do you want some coffee?" Victoria asked cheerfully, even as Ryana eagerly invited Andrew to see her toys. No, thanks, Andrew replied, recalling the less than stellar coffee from his previous visit. I've gotten better at making it, Victoria assured him with a laugh. Last time, it was partly instant. After a much improved lunch and coffee, Rihanna went for her nap. Victoria then led Andrew to her bedroom, which was quite full of various items. Here's most of the money back. I needed about $300 for rent, but the rest is here. You can count it if you want, Victoria said, handing him a grocery bag filled with money. I trust you, Rhea, Andrew responded, not bothering to count the money. They shared a passionate moment, with Victoria eagerly unbuttoning his shirt. Their intimacy was intense and passionate, marked by Victoria's playful nipping. Afterwards, lying together, Andrew insisted, keep the money, Rhea. Why did you call me that? Victoria asked with a giggle, playfully tracing his abdomen. Rhea and Rihanna, my two beautiful blondes, Andrew affectionately said. That night, Rihanna wanted Andrew to give her a bath and read her the story of Rumpelstiltskin. The following day, when Victoria received her food assistance card, Rihanna insisted that Andrew push her in the grocery cart. 3 days later, Rihanna was visibly upset when Andrew had to leave their trailer. Victoria, too, couldn't hide her emotions as she hugged Andrew goodbye and then closed the trailer door with a firm push. The troubles of farewells, the Uber driver empathized as he drove Andrew to the Greyhound bus station. 5 weeks later, with the ground blanketed in a light snow, Andrew and a couple of the ranch hands were puzzled by Carl's absence on payday. Carl was always punctual with their wages. Entering the Cleason home, Andrew was shocked to find Samantha Cleason lying motionless on the living room floor. The telephone line was dead. Quickly, Andrew drove to town to get a signal on his cell phone and contact the authorities. The grim reality was revealed. Mrs. Cleason had been tragically strangled, and Carl had been brutally attacked. The week's payroll was missing, along with 2 of the field hands, David and Tom. It's a terrible tragedy, Sheriff Alstoy remarked solemnly. Andrew, feeling a mix of anger and sorrow, particularly at the other hand's complaints about not getting paid, silently concurred. Carl and Samantha didn't have close relatives, except for Samantha's sister in Sacramento, who requested that the property and livestock be sold, as she had no desire to inherit them. By the time everything was settled, Christmas was just around the corner. Andrew returned to Merrily Lake, where Victoria's joyous greeting warmed the chilly air. Mr. Drew, I told Santa to bring me all the toys, and I wanted you here for Christmas too. Rihanna shared her wish with Andrew, her excitement palpable. Victoria, dressed simply in a long-sleeve thermal top, made herself comfortable on Andrew's lap. She mentioned using some of the money Andrew had sent to buy Christmas gifts for Rihanna. Rhea, I've said it before, use the money as you need, Andrew softly said, then gave her a kiss. And yes, that's perfect. Every little girl deserves a wonderful Christmas. You're the only one who's ever going to call me that, Victoria said with a sigh, playfully nipping at Andrew's ear. Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she waved her hands animatedly. I have something to show you, she exclaimed. On her arm, Victoria revealed a new tattoo, a large red heart with Andrew's name written inside. She looked into Andrew's eyes, seeking his reaction. Andrew remembered Julie and how she had fallen for William, despite her initial feelings for him. Then there were others like Terry, Angela, Anna Lynn, and Candy. Each had professed their love for him but ended up swayed by William. None of them had ever made such a permanent gesture as getting a tattoo of his name. Do you like it? Victoria asked, almost out of breath. Andrew was speechless. Rhea, this is. I've never had anyone do something like this for me, he managed to say. Victoria quickly adjusted her shirt and moved back onto Andrew's lap, kissing him passionately and giving his lip a playful bite. I love you, she murmured. I believe you, Andrew replied, touched by her gesture. On Christmas morning, Andrew was taken aback when Victoria and Rihanna dressed up and suggested they attend the Christmas service at the Baptist church. Despite receiving disapproving looks from some churchgoers, Victoria held onto Andrew's arm with a proud smile. They judge me for this, she said, pointing to her pierced eyebrow. They say it's a sin, but they can't show me where it says that. They were shocked by my lily tattoo too. Rihanna's new bicycle with training wheels was a huge success. Despite the snow, they took it to the local park, where Andrew cheered on every little progress Rihanna made. Eventually, when Rihanna got too cold, Andrew carried both her and the bicycle back home. Who's ready for some hot chocolate? Victoria called out cheerfully as they returned, ready to warm up and enjoy the rest of their Christmas together. Hot chocolate? Oh no, not that. Andrew joked playfully. But we're cold, Mr. Drew. When we're cold, we drink hot chocolate, Rihanna explained with the wisdom of a child. A couple of days after Christmas, Andrew made his way back to Broken Field, Kansas to pick up his truck and clear out his storage unit. He brought some of his belongings back to Victoria's trailer and found a smaller storage unit for the remaining items. Do we have a truck now? Rihanna asked with excitement. Yes, but you'll have to wait until you're 16 to drive it, Andrew replied. And what about me? Victoria inquired with a hint of jest. Victoria had never learned to drive, and attempting to navigate snow-packed roads proved challenging. After a few close calls, Victoria decided that driving was best left to Andrew, at least for now. With the arrival of spring and clearer roads, Victoria bravely tried driving again. She successfully drove them to the grocery store and back, though she admitted afterwards that she had been scared the whole time. In late April, they visited a rodeo in Benhurst County. Ryanna was fascinated by the ponies. She agreed to ride a Shetland pony as long as Andrew stayed close. The pony handler was understanding and patient, leading to Victoria teasingly asking Ryanna if Andrew was now her daddy. Yes, Ryanna replied, feeling secure in Andrew's embrace. At the rodeo, Andrew noticed an announcement offering a $5,000 prize for anyone who could ride a bull named Monstro for at least 8 seconds. The bull looked intimidating in the picture, which Andrew and Victoria studied closely. Yep, just stay on for 8 seconds, the man confirmed, his attention momentarily diverted by Victoria's attire. The possibility of winning the prize seemed intriguing, but the challenge was undoubtedly daunting, especially given Monstro's fearsome reputation. Andrew, please don't do this, Victoria implored, her worry evident. My daddy is the bravest, Ryanna declared confidently to the bystander. Andrew, acknowledging their financial situation, told Victoria, we're running low on funds. Victoria was adamant. Please, Andrew, don't do this. Ryanna, it's not safe for him. Despite Victoria's pleas, Andrew signed the rodeo forms, fully aware that the rodeo wouldn't be responsible for any injuries. His participation was announced to the crowd. If you get hurt, don't expect me to be able to fix everything, Victoria said sternly, her concern clear as she took Ryanna into her arms. I promise, if I get hurt, I won't trouble you, Andrew replied with a laugh, trying to lighten the mood. Victoria wasn't amused. This isn't a joke, she said, tears welling up. In the chute, Monstro, the bull, was already restless. As Andrew mounted and took hold, the animal thrashed violently, trying to throw him off. A rodeo hand reminded him, if you fall, head straight for the wall. We'll get you to safety. Victoria looked on, tearfully shouting, I hate that you're doing this. The moment the chute opened, Andrew was faced with an indescribable terror. Monstro's every move seemed aimed at throwing him off or worse. As the bull bucked and twisted, Andrew wondered how he would ever reach safety, feeling as though every bone in his body might break. Unable to hear the buzzer over the crowd and the bull's noises, Andrew had no idea he had lasted more than 8 seconds. When he finally saw a chance, he let go of the loop and pushed himself away from Monstro, who was also heading towards the wall. This move carried Andrew close enough to the wall for the rodeo hands to grab him. Unbelievable. 11.4 seconds. A man shouted, congratulating Andrew with pats on the back. Victoria rushed towards him, carrying Ryanna and looking distressed. Andrew, are you okay? She cried out, concern etched on her face as she approached where Andrew lay in the dirt. Did I actually do it? Andrew asked, struggling to stand on shaky legs. Yes, you did, and you're an idiot for it. Victoria yelled, her frustration evident as she lightly punched him in the stomach. You could have been seriously hurt. My daddy is the bravest, Ryanna said proudly, admiring her father's courage. Another man, caught up in the excitement, asked Andrew, how about trying another bull, El Diablo? Think you can do it? Victoria was quick to intervene. He's not doing anything like that again. She yelled, protective of Andrew. An older man approached with a check in hand. Here's your prize, $5,000. Andrew, feeling generous and grateful, handed the check to Victoria. Use this for something special, like a wedding dress, he suggested, surprising her. A wedding dress, Victoria gasped, taken aback by the suggestion. Despite this, the younger man continued to push for Andrew to ride El Diablo, tempting him with another large prize. My husband is not doing this again, Victoria declared firmly, tucking the check into her top. George, a challenger, taunted Andrew, betting that he could outlast him on El Diablo. $10,000 if you're brave enough, or does your wife make all the decisions? He jeered. Another man defended Andrew, challenging George's ability to ride and supporting Andrew's potential participation with a $10,000 bet. Andrew, please, no more. It was terrifying watching you out there, Victoria pleaded with him. Ignoring her plea, Andrew asked George, when do we do this? Victoria, overwhelmed with worry and anger, yelled, I hate this, and walked away with Ryanna. El Diablo, living up to its fearsome name, awaited its next challenger. George, having won the coin toss, strutted towards the raging bull, ready to prove his mettle. Just 3 seconds into the ride, George was already struggling with El Diablo's intense thrashing and bucking. In a desperate move, he grabbed the loop with both hands, which led to his disqualification. Despite this, the bull managed to throw him off just as 6 seconds passed on the clock. Victoria, beside herself with fear and anger, shouted at Andrew, if that animal hurts you, I won't forgive you. She turned away from Andrew's attempts at affection and wouldn't let him near Ryanna either. In the chute, El Diablo was relentless, trying to throw Andrew off even before the gate opened. The intensity of the ride was excruciating for Andrew. As the gate opened, El Diablo's furious movements were overwhelming. Andrew screamed as he struggled to stay on, unable to focus on anything due to the bull's rapid movements. When El Diablo finally slammed Andrew against a wall, his mind was screaming for him to find safety. 9.2 seconds. Someone yelled triumphantly, helping Andrew to safety. Exhausted and in pain, Andrew collapsed, declaring he wouldn't attempt such a feat again, regardless of the prize money. Victoria, still furious, approached Andrew and kicked at him lightly with her flip-flop. "Get up so I can really tell you off." Meanwhile, George was trying to save face, claiming he had tired the bull out, but the older man laughed it off, knowing George hadn't lasted long enough to tire El Diablo. George demanded a rematch, and the older man, seeing an opportunity, encouraged him to try again. "If you manage it, we'll call it even," the man offered George. Andrew, hearing this, protested. "I just went through all that, and you're saying we're just even?" he exclaimed, feeling both aggrieved and still reeling from the ordeal. Andrew, still processing the events at the rodeo, listened as the man who'd backed his bet against George pulled out his checkbook, making it clear that the new wager was a personal matter between him and George. Victoria, visibly upset with Andrew, took the second check and put it with the first one in her top. She held Andrew's hand tightly, pulling him towards the exit. "I want to see if George can actually ride," Andrew said, wanting to stay. "Then maybe he can take you home," Victoria retorted, upset that Andrew hadn't heeded her warnings. A fan approached to compliment Andrew's riding, but Victoria, in no mood for conversation, told him off. Andrew didn't mention that he had the truck keys and had driven them there. As they were leaving, the POS system announced George's attempt to beat Andrew's record, which quickly ended in failure. "Stop smiling, or I'll wipe it off for you," Victoria said, frustrated, as they continued to leave. The atmosphere was tense when they met with Reverend Hill for a marriage discussion. The Reverend and his wife seemed taken aback by the couple's appearance and demeanor. Andrew, standing up during the meeting, expressed his disappointment in the Reverend's judgmental attitude, emphasizing that he wanted a more open-minded Christian to officiate their wedding. The Reverend, offended and outraged, tried to interject, but Andrew cut him off. "Your actions have shown us enough," he said, holding the door for Victoria, making it clear they would not be marrying in his church due to his narrow-minded views. The Reverend's wife looked on in astonishment as Andrew and Victoria left the church office, clearly taken aback by Andrew's forthright declaration. She remained silent during their departure. Outside, Victoria's mood lightened. "I love you so much," she said, giggling and pulling Andrew in for a kiss. "I love you too," Andrew responded. "Let's try St. Pius. Maybe they'll be more receptive to us getting married there." "St. Pius? That's a Catholic church, right?" Victoria inquired. "Yes, and guess what? I'm Catholic," Andrew revealed. "You are? Really?" Victoria asked, surprised by this new information. They met with Father Gregory, who remembered Andrew from his time in Louisiana. The priest expressed that he couldn't officiate a quick wedding between a Catholic and a non-Catholic without the couple undergoing proper counseling on Catholic marriage. Victoria, lightening the mood, asked Father Gregory a playful question about her nose rings, to which he responded with a chuckle. Despite their fondness for him, Father Gregory held firm on the church's marriage requirements. "We'll go to your church then," Victoria decided, appreciating Father Gregory's honest approach. They eventually found Reverend Upjohn of the Church of Golgotha, who agreed to marry them. Victoria was overjoyed, and Andrew expressed his gratitude. Reverend Upjohn admired their decision to have their wedding in a church. "The fact that you want your marriage to take place in a house of the Lord rather than just at the courthouse shows your commitment to Christ and your union," he said approvingly. Victoria, surprised, asked, "You can just go to the courthouse?" "We could," Andrew acknowledged, "but I agree with Reverend Upjohn. We need God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit in our marriage." After completing the paperwork and handling the necessary arrangements, Reverend Upjohn complimented Andrew on his impressive rodeo performance, acknowledging the skills he had displayed. "Yeah, I'll make sure he doesn't try anything like that again," Victoria remarked firmly to Reverend Upjohn. The Reverend smiled understandingly, noticing the spark in Victoria's eyes. For their wedding, despite having a substantial budget, Victoria chose a simple and elegant pale pink dress. She explained to Andrew that it was versatile enough to be worn on other occasions, not just as a wedding dress. "I hardly ever wear dresses," Victoria said with a laugh. "Ria, you have the most beautiful laugh in the world," Andrew complimented her, embracing her warmly. "Oh, stop it," Victoria responded playfully. "You're going to make me regret stopping my bad habits from when I was 14. "It's true, though," Andrew insisted with a smile, as she pretended to be sick. "Why do you have to say things like that?" Andrew asked, a bit taken aback. "Do you really want to know?" Victoria asked, her smile fading. "Yes, I do," Andrew replied seriously. "I'm just scared that something might go wrong, and I'll end up feeling like the biggest loser in the world," Victoria confessed. "You can't be, because that title is already taken by me," Andrew said, lifting her up and kissing her. "I love you," Victoria whispered softly. Their wedding was a small affair. Victoria's mother and stepfather sent a crockpot as a gift but didn't attend. Ms. Francine, who babysat Rihanna, her children, and her boyfriend Bobby, were the only guests on Victoria's side. Andrew's side of the aisle was empty. The reception took place at Boardwalkers, where Andrew finally tasted their trout and home fries. With the original band from Centennial Walk no longer playing, a local DJ provided the music. catering to the children as well as the adults. The photographer captured many joyful moments of the children dancing and playing in the room. Andrew initially thought going to Las Vegas for their honeymoon might be a bit impractical, considering Victoria wasn't yet 21 and wouldn't be able to enjoy many of the city's adult attractions. However, Victoria was set on the idea, and Andrew, wanting to make her happy, arranged for the airfare and hotel reservations. Ryan was upset to learn she wouldn't be joining them in Las Vegas, dramatically declaring she would never speak to her parents again. However, her resolve quickly faded when she became hungry and wanted a snack. In Las Vegas, on their first day, Victoria excitedly dragged Andrew into a tattoo parlor. They both got tattoos of wedding bands on their third fingers, Andrew's with Rhea in script, and Victoria's with Andrew. Both tattoos were covered with white tape and gauze for protection. "See, this means we're together forever," Victoria exclaimed, thrilled with their new tattoos. Towards the end of their trip, an older man recognized Andrew from the Benhurst, Colorado rodeo. After Andrew corrected him that he preferred Andrew over Drew, the man mentioned a new challenge, the Nevada Nightmare Bull, with a $25,000 prize for anyone who could ride it. Andrew's interest was piqued by the prize, but Victoria immediately shut down the idea. "No way, Andrew. It doesn't matter how much money it is, you're not doing it." Andrew tried to reason with her, reminding her of their financial situation and what Mrs. Jackson had told them about no longer receiving assistance, but Victoria remained firm in her refusal to let Andrew take the risk. When Mrs. Amelia Jackson, a state employee, informed Victoria that her marriage meant losing her food card, housing stipend, and free medical care for herself and her daughter, Andrew had commented on the system's apparent bias against married couples. "Seems like if you're unmarried and have kids, you're supported. But marry, then you're on your own," he had observed. Victoria, despite the financial strain, told Andrew, "We'll manage, even if we have to sleep in the truck. Please don't do this." Ignoring her pleas, Andrew asked the older man about the timing of the rodeo event. Victoria's frustration boiled over. "I hate you for even considering it," she yelled, her emotions spilling over in the busy casino lobby, an environment where such scenes were not uncommon. The man informed Andrew that the event was scheduled for that evening at 7 o'clock. Nevada Nightmare, the bull he was considering riding, was known for its ferocity. It had seriously injured the last rider and no one had managed to stay on it for more than 5 seconds. 12 riders have tried, and you'd be the 13th, Victoria pointed out, her worry evident in her tone. "Do you really believe in that superstition?" Andrew asked, as they walked towards the arena. "Andrew, please, think about us, about Ryana," Victoria pleaded. "We can find another way to cover her dental bills." Just then, George Garcia, whom Andrew had encountered before, taunted him. "Going for another ride, or have you admitted you're not up for it?" Andrew, with a calm smile, replied, "No, I'm not going to try. I've got more important things to consider." His decision reflected a newfound prioritization of his family's well-being and safety over the lure of potential prize money. "No, I'm actually going to do it," Andrew declared, contradicting his earlier statement and bracing himself to mount the formidable Nevada Nightmare. The pause system boomed, announcing a challenger for Nevada Nightmare, and the crowd responded with a mix of excitement and disbelief. As Andrew prepared himself, his thoughts were dominated by Victoria and Ryana, the two people who had brought love and meaning to his life. In a breathtaking moment, Andrew managed to dismount and made a dash for the safety of the wall. The announcer's voice rang out, proclaiming Andrew's success over the Nevada Nightmare, much to the amazement of the audience. However, in a harrowing turn of events, the bull's horn caught Andrew's left ankle, pulling him back into the arena. Victoria screamed in horror and attempted to climb the wall to reach him, but was held back by bystanders. The scene was chaotic. Andrew lay unconscious, rodeo clowns and riders struggled to control the bull, and the crowd was on its feet in shock. In the aftermath, as Andrew was being loaded into an ambulance, Victoria, overwhelmed with emotion, told him through tears, "Never do this again, or I swear." In the hospital, Andrew woke to find his favorite boots cut off and his foot in a cast. He lamented the loss of his well-worn boots, but Victoria, still shaken, pointed out the severity of the situation and how close he had come to losing much more than a pair of boots. Andrew, realizing the gravity of what had happened and the emotional toll it had taken on Victoria, acknowledged the importance of the love and life they shared. My comment, Part 2 ending will be coming later today. Do you think OP is doing the right thing here or he's just selfish? Comment down below, and I will see you in the ending.